Many children simply list what happened when writing a diary entry. However, a strong diary entry also reveals the writer's thoughts, emotions, and reflections. Welcome to this explainer. If you're navigating the lead up to the NSW Selective test, or really any time-limited writing assessment, you know the pressure is on. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can help your child completely transform your diary entries from a simple recount into something truly captivating.
To see what I mean, just think about the difference between a standard sentence like, "We went on an excursion," and something like, "When the bus finally arrived, I could hardly sit still. I'd been waiting for this excursion all week." It's a massive difference, right? The first one is just factual. It's a bit flat. But the second one? Instantly, we aren't just reading a schedule anymore. We're stepping right into the writer's shoes and actually feeling their excitement. That is the secret sauce we're after. So let's just ground ourselves in what a diary entry actually is. Basically, it's a dated, personal record of an experience. It's almost always written in the first person, using a really casual, informal tone. A great tip is to remind your child to imagine their writing in a private, locked notebook. It's meant for their eyes only. That mindset gives them permission to be completely honest about how they felt rather than just reporting the dry facts.
Now, when that 30-minute timer is ticking, having a clear, sequence-driven structure is an absolute lifesaver. We teach a very simple 6-part scaffold. You start with the date right at the top, maybe followed by an optional greeting like "Dear Diary." Then, an introduction to establish the overall mood of the day. From there, you move into the body where the chronological events happen, followed by a reflection on what was learned or realized. Finally, you just finish up with a conclusion or a simple sign-off.
A really helpful way to explain this to your kids is this idea right here. The events form the skeleton of the diary entry, but the thoughts and emotions bring it to life. If a student only writes, "First we did this, then we did that," they've basically just built a rigid skeleton. It's the personal reactions, the joy, the frustration, maybe a bit of surprise, that add the muscle and the heart. That's what makes the writing breathe.
So, how do we actually build that muscle and heart? Well, there are a few specific language features you'll want to encourage. First-person pronouns, words like I, me, my, and we, are absolutely essential. You'll also want them to use informal, everyday language. Think contractions like can't, didn't, or I'll. Emotive language is huge too, like saying "I was absolutely thrilled." And definitely push for those vivid sensory details. Describe how the bright orange foam rushed over the sides instead of just saying the experiment worked.
To elevate things even further, asking a question to themselves, like, "Why was I so nervous?" is a brilliant way to show deep inner thought. Throwing in an exclamation like, "What an unbelievable day," conveys instant energy. Obviously, chronological words like first, later, after lunch, or eventually are crucial to keep the whole story flowing naturally. And lastly, personal reflection phrases like, "Looking back, I realized I was braver than I thought," really prove to the marker that the writer is actively processing their day.
Let's actually look at how this plays out in a piece of student writing. Imagine starting an entry right after the date and greeting with something like, "Why am I always running late?" That quick rhetorical question is such a fantastic opening. It instantly sets up a relatable personal tone and shows genuine frustration right out of the gate, which is way more engaging than just bluntly stating they missed the bus. Moving into the body of that same entry, the student writes, "When mine erupted with bright orange foam, everyone cheered. I felt so proud because my volcano went higher than anyone else's." Do you see how perfectly that works? Instead of just giving a dry recount of a science class, they've combined a really descriptive, sensory event with a crystal-clear emotional reaction. I can tell you for sure, this is exactly the kind of thing markers love to see.
And here is a textbook way to wrap it all up. Now that I'm home, I feel really happy but also tired from all the excitement. I hope tomorrow is just as awesome. Good night. This is brilliant because it reflects on the overall impact of the day. It shares a little hope for tomorrow, and it finishes off with a completely natural, informal sign-off.
Okay, so knowing the format is one thing, but how do you actually help your child execute all of this when they're staring down a 30-minute limit? It's tough. Without a solid plan, panic sets in, and that usually leads to messy, rambling writing. To succeed under that kind of pressure, they really need a highly efficient planning strategy.
Here's what we recommend. Before they even write a single sentence, get them to spend just 2 to 3 minutes jotting down answers to these 5 quick questions. What happened? Where and when? How did I feel before, during, and after? What was the most important moment? And what did I learn or realize? Answering those maps out their entire emotional arc instantly, without wasting precious exam time.
Once they're actually writing, the overarching strategy has to be focus.
Remind them to choose just 2 or 3 important moments. They absolutely shouldn't try to list everything they did that day. That's a classic time waster. They just need to combine a couple of key events with their thoughts and emotions, use nice short paragraphs, and this is absolutely crucial, always leave time at the end to check their spelling, punctuation, tense, and that first-person voice. You'll also want to help them dodge some really common traps. The biggest mistake we see is listing events with absolutely zero emotion. Close behind that is sounding too much like a formal school report. Make sure they watch out for accidentally changing their point of view, throwing in too many random, unrelated events, going totally overboard with exclamation marks, or just ending the piece abruptly without any real reflection.
To keep things foolproof, give them this final checklist to memorize. Make sure they have the date, a first-person perspective, and a strong personal voice. Ensure events are in chronological order with thoughts running right alongside emotions. Add in some great descriptive details, a thoughtful reflection, and a meaningful ending. If they can tick those boxes, they are golden.
Because ultimately, a successful diary entry sounds personal, follows a clear sequence, and allows the reader to experience the event through the writer's eyes. If you want to help your child build confidence across different writing formats, practice with Path to Selective. You can find all the resources you need at www.pathtoselective.com. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and best of luck with the preparation.